In terms of cognitive health, there are two separate situations which can occur with you with age. So there's typical cognitive aging, which is a slow decline in your cognitive functionality as you reach your later years, typically around 70 years plus. Or there's an atypical aging form of cognitive health where there's pathological processes occurring in the brain where there's deterioration of certain structures and certain domains which lead to a lot faster declines in cognitive functionality. And that's when you're going to get into the realms of people suffering from dementia, not only Alzheimer's disease, but also vascular dementia and other forms. In terms of diet, there are many things you can do. The way I look at it is in terms of the way that nutrients and non-nutrients work. So if we deal with the nutrients first, so we've got macronutrients such as lipids and fats, and the ones of particular interest are the long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, particularly a compound called DHA, or docosahexaenoic acid, which is found in oily fish and actually can also be found in algae as the original source. Then we have micronutrients, particularly the B vitamins, which allow for a better energy generation within the brain. And if we consider that the brain weighs about 2% of our body mass, but uses around about 20% of the energy, we can see why an efficient extraction of energy within the brain would be beneficial. And then we have the non-nutrients, and the non-nutrients typically are those which are associated with fiber intake. The ones that we work on here are called polyphenols or flavonoids, and they provide a better blood flow to the brain. So if you're commonly consuming those, then you're going to get a better blood flow to the brain. That's going to mean better oxygen delivery, better nutrient delivery, and better cognitive function. Polyphenols and flavonoids, rich sources would include fruits and vegetables generally, and beverages derived from them. Some very well-known and well-reported rich sources are cocoa beans, green tea, particularly to a lesser extent black tea, citrus fruits like orange and grapefruit, and there are many others, berries of course. The stronger the colour, usually the higher the concentration, the more bitter and astringent, the higher the concentration. So hydration is very important from the brain, and we see that as an example of endurance athletes who don't hydrate well. They can not only become fatigued, but also very confused. And we know from the physiology work that we do that neurons and participating glial cells within the brain need to be well hydrated in order that they can perform their functions. And those functions include connecting with their neighbours and connecting with other parts of the brain. And this is all going to be or will deteriorate if someone is not hydrated sufficiently. So as well as diet, there are some other things that you can do to make sure that your cognitive aging is optimal, and one of those is exercise. So similarly to the non-nutrient polyphenols, flavonoids that improve blood flow to the brain, exercise is also great at improving blood flow to the brain, and also has been shown to revascularize certain domains within the brain. So improving blood flow, improving nutrient delivery, and then improving, of course, cognitive function. Other things are things like social interaction. This is known to be very good at promoting good cognitive aging, and of course sleep. So getting over 7 hours sleep allows for a better recovery of all of those neuronal processes. This is typical as with all structures within the body. They will degrade over time, and the brain is no exception to that. However, if you can keep yourself above a certain threshold level of degeneration, then you're not going to slip into the category of dementia and suffering from serious cognitive impairments. Number one would be good diet, and good diet early. So you don't want to wait until you're 65 and when you're retiring to make sure you get your diet right. You want to do that as early as possible. So, 20 years and older, you want to be making sure you get your fruit and vegetables. You want to make sure you're getting your oily fish, and you also probably want to make sure that you're making sure you're hydrated. Secondly, I would say is regular exercise. I would say 2 or 3 times a week would be a good level of exercise. You want to be working out for probably around about 20 minutes, moderate exercise in order to promote that good blood flow to the brain. And thirdly, I would say, is making sure you get enough sleep. So for things like being very cognitively active during a day can take some recovery time, and that recovery time is known to be a lot quicker during sleep hours, particularly when someone's in deep sleep. And someone doesn't usually enter deep sleep until they've had a sufficient number of hours of sleep. Around about 7 hours or more would be what I would aim for.